Radhika's murder, including what her mother was doing when the incident occurred. According to an FIR registered based on the complaint of the deceased uncle, Kuldeep Yadav, Radhika's mother Manju Yadav was present on the first floor of the house when the shooting took place. Now, Radhika Yadav's autopsy report is also out. The autopsy report says that she was hit or shot at 4 times, 4 bullets. 1 bullet was a through and through, 2 bullets in the back, 1 bullet on the shoulder, and there is an exit wound that was found on Radhika's body. Now, with the help of AI, we try and recreate the entire sequence of how Radhika was killed, murdered actually. Radhika Yadav's mother was resting on the 2nd floor of their 2nd-story house in Sushant Lok area in Sector 57 of Gurugram. Radhika was in the kitchen on the 1st floor and she was reportedly cooking for her mother, who was unwell. While she was cooking, her father walked in and pumped 4 bullets into her, shot her from behind, viewers. The post-mortem report says 2 bullets were in the back, 1 bullet in the shoulder, and there was 1 exit wound that was also found on Radhika's body. Now, hearing the gunshots, Radhika's brother rushed to the 1st floor and found her lying in a pool of blood. Now, this doesn't actually add up. Who actually discovered Radhika's body? The mother recorded her statement with the police, and this is what the police sources had to say. The mother has said that she had fever and that she was lying in her room when she heard gunshots. The mother claims she was in the room. Eyewitnesses claim she was actually outside. The security guard posted close to the house, and this house is adjacent to the Yadav resident, recalls the shocking events of the day Radhika was shot. He says that Radhika's mother Manju Yadav was standing outside speaking to some other women in the neighborhood when Deepak Yadav appeared on the balcony and announced, "Maine Radhika ko maar diya," with a revolver in his hand. The guard then adds that following this, both the mother and Radhika's brother rushed inside the house. Now, as the probe intensifies, an eyewitness, the security guard at the residence, recounted the chilling moment. Listen into what he had to say.
जब ये इंसिडेंट हुआ कल करीबन 10:30 बजे, तो क्या आपने गन शॉट्स की आवाज़ें सुनी थी?
जी नहीं, मैं नहीं सुना था। मैं यहाँ नहीं था, मैं था मंदिर में। मंदिर से आने के बाद में हमने ये सब कुछ बातें उतें कर रहा था, पानी भी पड़ रहा था, बारिश भी। तो हम हल्का फल्का में खड़ा होकर मैं सुना कि आपने की लड़ाई हो रहा, क्या हो रहा था। मैं सुना कुछ ये सब बात बता रहा है, लड़ रहे झगड़ रहे हैं। फिर भी मैं बहुत,
आपको लड़ाई झगड़े की आवाज़ आ रही थी घर से?
बाहर आके
बाहर आए?
हाँ, बाहर आपने बातें कर रहे थे। हाँ, एक तो उस घर के एक मम्मी था, एक वो वाइफ था, इसकी मम्मी था। हाँ, राधा जी की मम्मी। कि अपने में बात कर रहे थे, तो हम जब इधर से जा रहे।
कितने बजे की बात है ये कि वो लोग बाहर आके बात कर रहे? राधिका जी की मम्मी आप बोल रहे हैं, मदर, तो वो कितने बजे करीबन बाहर आके बात कर रहे?
ये करीब 11 बजे की है बात है।
11 बजे की बात है?
हाँ, 11 पौने 11।
तो और कौन कौन थे उनके साथ में? नहीं,
कोई नहीं था, बस ये एक तो वाइफ था, राधिका जी की मम्मी था, और उनको पत्नी भी था, वो पतली कोठी वाले के थे। ये अपने तीनों बात कर रहे थे। हम जाते हुए थोड़ा गौर किया बात को कि क्या क्या बात हो रहा है, कोई लड़ाई झगड़ा तो नहीं हो गया। कि हम बाजू में रहते हैं, कोई मान लिया भी आएगा, अगर पूछेगा तो मैं क्या जवाब दूंगा। फिर भी मैं बारिश में भीगता हुआ मैं बात को सुवादा उसको, भाई क्या बात है। हाँ भाई, इतनी देर में भाई बोला कि लड़ाई हो गया। हाँ, लड़ाई हो गया, क्या बात हो गया, मार दिया। फिर बच्चा तो वो तो चला गया लेके, गाड़ी में लेके। फिर बाद में सुना हमने कि ठोक दिया गोली से।
So here's where things are a little in variance. Manju Yadav says she was not on the same floor, she was on the another floor, but the guard says she was actually down and talking, and the father comes out and says, "Maine bachchi ko maar diya." But the guard also says he didn't hear the gunshots. Manju Yadav in her statement has turned around and said, "I was up and this happened and then I got to know." The brother of Deepak Yadav has said that when he walked into the house, he saw Deepak Yadav sitting in the living room with the revolver, and the body of Radhika Yadav was lying in the kitchen, and the mother Manju Yadav was on another floor. So there are some gaps in the narrations by all of them, but clearly the cops are saying that this was clearly Deepak Yadav. Manju Yadav has also made some other revelations. She has said that Deepak Yadav was someone who was always perennially in doubt of the actions, not just of his daughter but also of his wife. And they would often fight, and this fight had been going on for 3 days. And repeatedly he had been threatening his daughter that I will kill you, मैं तुम्हें मार दूंगा. She has also gone and said that once Manju Yadav, wife of Deepak Yadav, was talking to her brother-in-law, and Deepak Yadav was not happy about it, and he started questioning her and raising doubts about what was the intent of having a conversation. So these are things which were running in the family. The other thing is that Deepak Yadav shot his daughter with a licensed revolver. How did he get a licensed revolver? On what basis? Why did he need one? These are all questions, and those who issued this license will now have to answer, because he shot his own daughter with that licensed revolver, pumped 4 bullets into her. Now, while speaking to CNN News 18, this was another angle that surfaced during the day of Imamul Haq, the boy who was seen in a music video with Radhika. And he said, never had any long conversations with Radhika. I came in contact with Radhika during a tennis tournament. She had expressed at that time her interest to act. I was making music videos. We collaborated, decided to do the collaboration. I came from Mumbai to Delhi, 4-5 hours we shot, and never met her outside work. Radhika didn't want to promote the music video, but Radhika's mother Manju Yadav was there throughout the shoot. And that Radhika deactivated her Instagram account just around the video release and refused to promote the video. And we did it on our own. And he spoke at length here at CNN News 18. Here's an excerpt.
Could you first of all explain or share with us your own experience with Radhika? आप उनके साथ इस वीडियो में थे, कैसी शख्सियत थी उनकी, थोड़ा हमें बताइए. और बहुत बहुत दुखद घटना रही है ये, हम आपको भी अपने कंडोलेंसेस कन्वे करना चाहेंगे.
जी, मैं आपको इसके बारे में ज़्यादा क्या बताऊं, बिकॉज 4 to 5 आवर्स का शूट था और मेरे लिए वो एक को एक्ट्रेस थी
जी,
जिनके साथ हमने म्यूजिक वीडियो शूट किया. तो मैं तो उनको एक्ट्रेस की निगाह से ही देख रहा था. तो आई डोंट नो कि मैं आपका इस सवाल का जवाब कैसे दूं या उनके बारे में क्या बताऊं, बिकॉज मुझे ज़्यादा है नहीं उनके बारे में डिटेल मेरे पास.
आपकी उनसे पहली बार मुलाकात कब हुई थी? जब ये शूट शुरू हुआ तब आपकी उनसे पहली बार मुलाकात कब हुई?
हम लोग पंजाब टाइगर टेनिस टीम के लिए दिल्ली गए थे और वहाँ पर उन्होंने मेरी टीम मेट को बोला था कि उनको एक्टिंग में भी शौक है और उनको करना है एड्स और म्यूजिक वीडियो. देन उन्होंने मुझे बोला, मेरी टीम मेंबर ने, मैंने बोला आप इनका नंबर ले लीजिए, कुछ भी होता है मैं इनको बता दूंगा. और मैंने बोला दिल्ली रहते हैं बट मैं तो मुंबई रहता हूँ, तो मुंबई में तो पॉसिबल नहीं होगा, बिकॉज अगर आपको एज एन एक्ट्रेस काम करना है तो आपको मुंबई में रहना ज़रूरी है. तो मैंने बोला अगर कुछ होगा तो मैं आपको बता दूंगा. तो उस टाइम एक म्यूजिक वीडियो था कारवा, जो मैं मिस्टर जीशान के साथ कर रहा था, एंड उसमें डायरेक्टर अली अहमद थे. मैं सिर्फ अपना गाना दे रहा था और वो लोग कास्टिंग कर रहे थे. तो अचानक से जीशान अहमद उन्होंने मना कर दिया कि मैं नहीं कर रहा म्यूजिक वीडियो,
अच्छा,
बिकॉज कुछ उनका फैमिली इशू हो गया था. तो फिर डायरेक्टर ने बोला नाम लास्ट मोमेंट है, इसको आप कर लो. तो मैंने पहले राधिका की प्रोफाइल में भेजी हुई थी व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में कि आप इसको देख लीजिए. पहले सब लोगों ने बोला कि वो काफ़ी यंग है, जीशान अहमद उनके साथ. फिर जब मेरी बारी आई, जब मैं इसको एज एन एक्टर शूट करने लगा, तो बोले कि हाँ अभी ये फिट है, तो राधिका से आप बात कर लीजिए. तो मैंने उनको बोला कि ऐसे ऐसे एक म्यूजिक वीडियो है, गाना है. मैंने गाना भेजा राधिका को, एंड राधिका उसके लिए एक्साइटेड भी थी, बिकॉज उन्होंने इससे पहले कोई ऐसा काम किया नहीं था. तो राधिका ने मुझे बताया कि उनके फादर को ये गाना बहुत अच्छा लगा.
अच्छा,
कारवा, उन्होंने ये मुझे बोला था. हाँ, मैंने बोला ठीक है, फिर हम शूट करते हैं.
उस फोन कॉल तक और उसके पहले जब उन्होंने आपको अपना कांटेक्ट नंबर दिया कि यदि कोई भी अपॉर्चुनिटी हो तो आप मुझे कांटेक्ट करिए, उस पैसेज ऑफ टाइम के दौरान आपका कोई भी संपर्क हुआ था राधिका के साथ?
मेरा कोई ऐसा कोई कांटेक्ट नहीं हुआ, बट इंस्टाग्राम पर हम लोग कनेक्टेड रहते हैं, तो कभी स्टोरी पर कोई रिप्लाई दे दिया, कभी कुछ ऐसे ही था
जी।
बट मेरा कोई भी ऐसा लॉन्ग कॉन्वर्जेशन थोड़ा भी नहीं हुआ। और ना मुझे दिल्ली इंडस्ट्री उससे कुछ काम, या वहाँ पर मैं मुंबई में ही रहता हूँ, तो जब कोई मतलब इन फ्यूचर में अगर कल चंडीगढ़ में कोई गाना शूट करने जाऊँ तब मुझे कोई याद आएगा कि कोई एक्ट्रेस है यहाँ पर या नहीं है। बट उसके बीच में मेरी ऐसी कोई भी बातचीत नहीं हुई। बट मेरे जहन में था कि हाँ, ये इनको हम कास्ट कर सकते हैं
जी।
बिकॉज उनका जो कैमरा लुक है वो बहुत अच्छा था। क्योंकि हम लोग जब टेनिस का शूट कर रहे थे तभी मुझे मेरी टीममेट बोले थे कि ये क्यूट लगती है, और आप इसने बोला भी कि इसको कुछ करना है एक्टिंग में, तो इनाम जी आप बताइएगा। इस तरह से बात हुई थी।
So Inamul Haq says it was only the music video. It was purely professional and there was nothing romantic or beyond the acts of a professional music video making. Now, Radhika's mother recorded her statement before the police, and as per the cops and police sources, accused was obsessive in nature. That's Deepak Yadav. He even was scolded for talking to her brother-in-law. That's what Manju Yadav has said, and he was in anger and told Radhika to shut down her coaching. Radhika and her father were having a fight for the last 3 days, and Deepak Yadav also, Manju Yadav has further said that he was outraged or very upset when some neighbors taunted him that he is living off his daughter. Now, these were terms which perhaps upset Deepak Yadav, who did not seem to be someone who was very, very stable in the head. Now, how did such a person get a licensed revolver is another very big question. The big questions on how did Radhika's father get a licensed revolver? Did Radhika's father have a valid revolver license? What kind of threat perception did he have to justify wielding a weapon? Now, was there a thorough check before issuing the licensed revolver? Why did the mother not alert the family, cops, neighbors if the father was threatening to kill his daughter? These are questions remaining, and also why are there perhaps gaps in the narrations? The cops believe this is not an honor killing, nor is it being done because or a case of a grooming gang or a love jihad. They say it's just a fit of rage and a moment of madness that a father has pumped 4 bullets into his talented daughter. We'll keep you abreast of the investigation and what happens thereafter. The accused has now been put on 1-day custody. He's confessed to the murder. So, prima facie, it seems an open and shut case for the prosecution, but we'll follow this closely. Moving on for the moment. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval slammed the foreign media reporting on Operation Sindoor and said that they failed to show any damage to Indian structures. But images from 13 air bases over in Pakistan that were damaged in Bharat's precision strikes surfaced. Hailing Bharat's precision in hitting its targets in the crisscross of Operation Sindoor on May 7, 8, 9, Ajit Doval said that the armed forces hit nowhere else except the targets, and this was on the 7th. And also, when on the retaliation happened on the 8th. Now, Bharat struck terrorist camps deep inside the enemy territory as the armed forces avenged the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 civilians in Jammu and Kashmir on the 22nd of April. Now, in India's retaliatory strikes, over 100 terrorists were killed. Officials have said Ajit Doval lauded the indigenous weapons used during Operation Sindoor and said that Bharat has to develop more of such technology. Listen in.
Foreign press and all these things, they said Pakistan did that and this. You tell me one photograph, one image which shows any Indian damage being done, even a glass plane having been thrown. I don't know, only our forces will be knowing what's happening in this thing, but I'm just telling, they brought out photographs, they wrote this thing, the New York Times put out very this thing. Only imagine is they said 13 air bases of Pakistan now and now, before 10th May and after 10th May. Whether it was in Sargodha or it was in Rahim Yar Khan or it was in Chaklala or it was in Rawalpindi, we decided to have 9 terrorist targets in the crisscross of Pakistan. It was not on the border area or something, which we thought where they are this thing. We missed none. Entire operation was started at 5 minutes past 1 and was over at 28 minutes past 1. 23 minutes.
So is Atmanirbharta the only way forward? Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, former GOC 15 Corps of the Indian Army with us, and also Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, former DG Inspection and Safety IAF with us. Namaste, Jai Hind. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. General Pandey, how soon can we become Atmanirbhar? How far are we from being Atmanirbhar? And perhaps is this the NSA calling out the international media narrative? Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing about is being indigenous and self-sufficient in the entire system. Please understand, Anand, that we are decades behind the Western world and surely about a couple of decades behind the Chinese in terms of developing our own capacities, possibly because the injection of funds which have been done in our country due to a variety of reasons has not been adequate enough to look after the R&D for quite some time. So now suddenly when a new government comes in and starts looking at indigenization, it is not a miracle or a snapping a finger that the things will change. It will take its own time. The processes are difficult. There are 3-4 things which are very, very important in this. Firstly, you have to develop a very, very important academic base. Academia is involved. R&D is required to be done. You have to have a very functioning private sector which works in the sync with the public sector environment to ensure that the projects which are required to be rolled out are rolled out. For far too long, our systems which are involved have got components from multiple countries. You have systems from France, you got from Israelis, you got Americans, you got German stuff, you got Russian stuff. Now these were political, diplomatic, geopolitical compulsions over a period of time. We have got invested these systems. Now to tie all these together and fight a comprehensive battle is a challenge, right? But now the latest decoupling of the countries due to geopolitical churnings which have taken place in last about decades is telling us that indigenous is the only way forward. It will take time, and therefore we have to work on the 2 pillars. That means we need to continue with the legacy systems till the time our own capacities are built up strong enough so that they can be self-sustaining and self-generational. And thereafter they are involved in fighting the war or the national security requirements are met through. So we have to be patient, right? This current 88 hours war has shown that if you don't want to remain hostage to another country or any corporate or anybody in the world, you need to develop your own systems. It may take another decade, it may take another 5 years. Both security people who are involved in this thing, the industry, the government, the bureaucracy, have to continue to focus on developing our system. There's no way forward. I just want to give a very quick example. Starlink supports the Ukrainian operations. Somewhere Zelensky annoyed Elon Musk. And Elon Musk simply said one line, I'm told, that I'll shut down the Starlink operations. You imagine that if you continue to work on the systems given by foreign countries, where the levers of the GPS systems or critical component or the niche technology stuff which are being listened to by them, they control those things even for a little bit. Your entire operation can go haywire. Your bombs are supposed to be dropping at X place, they will be dropping at X plus 1,000 meters away. So therefore, Indigenization is the only way forward. And I think what the NSA is saying is absolutely right.
But General Saab and also Air Marshal, as I come to you, Air Marshal Kapoor, is there not this entire thought process that unless it is export ready, unless other nations want to buy it, we will not procure from a local manufacturer? Now, how do we manage this? The other thing is, especially looking at air power, Bharat does not make its own engines. Unless we make our own engines, how are we going to power anything that is moving, be it on land, air or sea?
Engines is a niche technology, Anand, which is only with 4 to 5 countries, and they are not ready to part with this technology. This game has been going on, and India tried through its own GTRE, our Kaveri engine for LCA, that nearly reached the stage but couldn't cross the threshold for reheat portion of our development. So there, the India went in for GE 404, 414 from United States, and now we are totally dependent. The airframes are ready, but the engines from USA are not coming. And what General Pandey has just said, I totally endorse, to say that we have to be self-reliant. There is absolutely no doubt in that. Now, the issue arises, in my opinion, this speech, I listened to the complete speech of NSA, what he spoke at IIT Chennai today. And in my opinion, it's a path-breaking speech that he gave today. Reason, first, the place which matters, IIT. Second, the people generally from IITs tend to go abroad. So this was a message. Third part, 608 billion is the estimate of defense budget by 2047. And he's saying India would be a $32 trillion economy by 2047. And the people who are going to lead this country to this period are you. So the next thing which came up, what saved the day, he meant to say that we indigenize a lot of things. And the beauty which I covered in your program when I was in the studios during Sindoor is that we mated the old Russian and other equipment, L-70 guns, Zeus, our own missiles, to the latest technology. We integrated with ISCCS, indigenous, our own people, our own engineers, our own people who brought it. This actually took NEP by surprise because they never expected the L-70 guns to be used against drones, these Akash Ts and ISCCS performing so well. Next part is artificial intelligence. Somewhere in this whole discussion, we are missing out the big picture. What brought us, results in such a short time was our AI development in-house. So what we did is the ISCCS, it has two components. One, picks it up and other shoots. This was clubbed right from Leh to Sar Creek in Gujarat through an artificial intelligence model, through ISCCS. This helped us in a great deal. So probably NSA talk today was highlighting these issues and telling the young generation that we as a nation got to invest in these verticals for which the R&D is essential, for which you are the people who should. So indirectly, without saying too much, he basically meant that this is the path the private industry has to come in. And then he lauded the communication verticals in our country, wherein he gave an example today to say that the Chinese took 15 years or 12 years to indigenize, to develop 5G. But here, in a short period of 2.5 years, we could develop our own communication system, which helped us in Sindoor. So this is a defining talk today, in my opinion, what he spoke.
Marshal, just stay on with us. General Pandey, because you are there with us for limited time, I just want to bring in the other dynamic or the other vector into this conversation. That is what the special advisor to the president of Nepal has also said at a conference. Pakistan-based terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed pose serious risks to Bharat and could use Nepal as a transit route. This is what Sunil Bahadur Thapa, advisor to the president of Nepal, has warned. Thapa ji had made these remarks during a high-level seminar organized by the Nepal Institute of International Cooperation and Engagement, that is NIICE, in Kathmandu on the 9th of July. The event focused on addressing terrorism threats in South Asia and also saw participation from key regional experts and policy makers. Now, speakers at the seminar noted that terror attacks in Bharat often have spillover effects on Nepal, undermining regional peace and stability, and they pointed to Pakistan's support for terrorism as a major hurdle to the effectiveness of SAARC and also broader regional integration. Now, just quickly going back to General Pandey, your thoughts on Nepal officially now making this statement, something that's been often aired or said by security experts on this side?
Yeah, so firstly, it's very interesting that finally Nepal has started talking about it openly, right? Please understand, when the water, terror, money and narco, they will always flow through the easiest route which is possible. So when you block your routes from POJK and from the Punjab region for infiltration to take place, because of heavy deployment and a very concentrated deployment to plug in the infiltration, you will find that they will start using other routes which may be slightly longer, maybe inexpensive as well. Now, Nepal, with about more than 1,500 odd kilometers of very, very open border, because there's a high level of mutual trust between the two countries, is has been exploited earlier. I can assure you that when I was there, even in Valley, there are families of the terrorists who had got married when these terrorists were inside POJK, including Pakistani women, and along with got out with couple of children. They used to fly into Nepal and thereafter sit in a bus and cross over into India, right? And then we used to discover, to our dismay, to the local intelligence, there's a family which has come from Pakistan or POJK and has recently arrived and they are staying here. And actually our Indian system did not have any way to deal with them. When a family with wives and children with stuff can come across, what do you expect for a Lashkar-e-Toiba or a Jaish-e-Mohammed trained terrorist to negotiate the limited system of security which is there? So while there is certain degree of intelligence, there are SSB units deployed, but frankly, on the other side, in Nepal, there is no fear or terror effect, right? So if somebody comes and carries out the reconnaissance, there's hardly requirement of intelligence. But therefore, I'm quite surprised that today Pakistan is talking about it. Nepal is talking about it and is pointing out about this thing. It's a great thing which is happening, and we have to be live along the border of Nepal as well. In matter of intelligence or supervision or some system has to be put in place that these routes are also denied to Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, because drugs and weapons can just, or explosives can fly in through drones and other systems. You only require to get the men from this side, and men can sneak in without carrying any weapon and as a simple human being come across, because after all, we are living in a democracy. We are not living in an autocracy or a dictatorship where you can have a security umbrella put, right? Thank you. Thanks, Anand.
Right, General Pandey, thank you very much. We've let you go on time so you can catch that flight. I hope you don't miss it. Meanwhile, Air Marshal Kapoor stays on with us. But viewers, Bharat and Nepal share a 1,751 kilometer long open border, which actually operates with the minimal security checks. Now, this porous boundary makes it easier for terrorists to infiltrate Bharat, often using forged Nepalese documents to conceal their identities. Over the years, several operatives from Pakistan-based outfits like the Lashkar, the Jaish, Hizbul, etc. have been arrested while attempting to enter Bharat through Nepal. And oftentimes, we've reported here on CNN News 18 that this is the route through which seasoned terrorists, trained terrorists are now entering Bharat without having any arms or ammunition, coming in as locals, and then via drone drops, the arms are dropped into the valley, into the hills of Punch, etc., and those regions, and they then go ahead and access these caches, and thereafter arm themselves, and then go ahead and perpetrate terror on Indian soil. Air Marshal Kapoor is with us. Air Marshal, your thoughts on this? The acceptance by Nepal. So there are multiple challenges that Bharat faces. One, porous borders. It's not just with Nepal, it's there with Tibet, it's there with certain portions of occupied territory by the PRC and PLA, it's there with Bangladesh, open borders, it's open borders with Myanmar, and also undefined borders along the LOC, which are often, now fenced, but then still they become porous. Now this is one challenge. Second is Atmanirbharta. We are dependent on others to secure ourselves. And third is this entire machination of the enemy, which is using all the areas, all the avenues available to try and bleed Bharat with 1,000 cuts.
Totally right. Nepal acknowledging it, in my opinion, for the first time. If you see the demographic change for your viewers, if you go across, the belt before the hills when you go towards Kathmandu side is mainly area where Madhesis stay. Madhesis are people who are of Indian origin and stay. And if you go along the border, cross onto the Nepal side, I was reading somewhere that a large amount of madrasas and mosques have come across this border. So these are basically structures which have been brought up in last about 5 to 10 years, wherein like General Pandey was mentioning, that people from Pakistan come across, fly into Nepal, and China, of course, is making a huge headway in Nepal. The Chinese have started an airline called the Himalayan Airways. It starts from Kathmandu and takes the Nepalese people at a subsidized price of about 2,500 to 3,000 rupees to take them across to China for shopping. The Chinese are also planning to invest in a huge sum to build highways and trains from north side, because the mountainous region is so inhospitable that the Chinese want to access and telling Nepalese that we will help you. Why are you dependent on India? So on one side, the Pakistanis find a route through Nepal to come into India. On the other side, the Chinese are putting pressure on Nepalese to accept, these conditions and give them access from the northern side.
Right.
And average Nepali has been, told the narrative that has been going on there is, making up that anti-India sentiment. It has happened in all our neighboring countries, and it is a systematic plot. See, the deep state and the people who are actually controlling the geopolitics and defining the world order have planned it that way. So you will find till about 20 years ago, there was no such issue. But now, an average person in Nepal or in Bangladesh or in Myanmar or in Maldives does not have that good opinion about India. So it takes time, and the next generation is through social media, newspapers, through televisions and through other mediums are given a narrative which makes them believe that. But on the other hand, India, in my opinion, has not been able to counter it effectively, like you mentioned. We have to and seriously invest in a lot of effort in our intelligence. Our diplomatic pressures have to increase. We are making effort. The border areas, state governments will have to pitch in more. The SSBs and other agencies which are guarding the Nepalese border will have to be more alert, and our RNW and other intelligence agencies will have to collaborate together because that's a porous border, we all know, and this is an excess which rightly so has to be plugged.
Air Marshal, my final question to you: how long or how far are we from truly being secure? Or is this going to be a perennial process, continuous evolution and dynamic and also being nimble on our feet? Do you want to link Atmanirbharta, self-reliance directly with security and also ensuring that we don't allow these porous borders?
And you are absolutely right. These two are intertwined. We can only be strong both internally if our security is in place. And in my personal appreciation, that should be the first thing that we will have to do. We will have to flush out all people who do not belong to this country, who do not have valid papers or documents to prove that they belong to this country. We have to close all our borders to an extent wherein that easy access is stopped. And like I just mentioned, that all these agencies will have to step up. And today it's easy. We have satellites, we have drones, we have other things. Unlike in the past, where manually the soldiers had to move across the fence, with dogs to guard the. Not so. Today, electronic fences exist. Today, electronic cameras exist. Today, drones are utilized. They can fly for long. One drone comes, the other gets airborne. So, round-the-clock surveillance is possible. You have, thermal imaging. So all kinds of things are there. But how much, the push is given to this aspect, which is very, very important for us to be Atmanirbhar. But before that, we have to be secure.
Air Marshal Kapoor, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your inputs on two very important aspects, one of Atmanirbharta, the other about securing our borders so that these infiltrations don't happen with gay abandon. Thank you very much. Moving on to yet another aspect which is real. On the right stand tonight, we'll try and bring you three filmmakers, three storytellers who have been subjected to cuts, virtue signaling, delays, and perhaps a unilateral approach, a hands-off approach when the storytelling is uncomfortable or does not suit a particular quote-unquote narrative/ecosystem. That is also a spillover of what is happening in real. So what's happening on reel is also happening in real. Let's take the Udaipur Files. The Delhi High Court has banned the release of the film Udaipur Files, which was made to show the real story of Kanhaiya Lal murder case that happened 3 years ago in Bhoot Mahal Gully of the Lake City, Udaipur in Rajasthan. After the decision to stop the release of the film, Kanhaiyalal's son, who's been waiting for justice for 3 years, was filled with grief. Kanhaiyalal's elder son, Yash Sahu, has demanded from the court to hang his father's murderers. Yash Sahu has said, after the High Court's decision, that despite having full evidence against Kanhaiyalal's murders, they have not been punished. Yash said that there is video evidence against the murderers, but no efforts have been made to punish the murderers in the last 3 years. So that case, the real case, is languishing in courts for the last 3 years. But look at the alacrity shown in trying to push on a verdict or to stay the release of a movie that tells that story. Now, he said that the CBI court has been given the additional responsibility of the NIA court. Hearings are held on it only once or twice a month. This case was not taken to day-to-day hearing or fast-track court. Now, due to this, they are still waiting for justice. It must be mentioned that the Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind, which has a history of protecting terrorists, objected to the movie based on the brutal murder of Tailor Kanhaiyalal on the 28th of June 2022 by radical Islamists, Muhammad Riaz Atari and also Muhammad Ghaus. In June 2021, the Deoband-based organization had also deputed its lawyers to defend alleged Al-Qaeda terrorists in Uttar Pradesh. The organization had declared that it would provide legal assistance to 2 terror suspects. In February 2022, it came to the rescue of 49 terrorists who were convicted for planning and executing 21 bomb blasts in Ahmedabad that killed nearly 56 innocent people. Now, is this not an open, brazen cover fire for Hindu messiah and radicals? The Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind on its website had also in the past, and it was exposed here on CNN News 18, openly said that all the money that it was collecting via halal certification, a lot of it was being directed to also provide legal cover to those who are accused in acts of terror. Now, why is this one-way virtue signaling by the courts, by the CBFC, by society, etc.? These are questions. 3 producers who have borne the brunt of virtue signaling or this entire hands-off approach to real storytelling join us on the right stand. So one by one, and we'll get them all together and also speak with them. But first, let's go to the Amit Jani, the producer of Udaipur Files, Mayank Jain, filmmaker with us, and Manpreet Dhami, who said his story of Itihas. Now, he's also faced 55 cuts. Amit Jani ji, you also faced 55 cuts. Mayank Jain, you've suffered this, borne the brunt for nearly 2 decades now. So let's start with Amit Jani. Amit ji, namaste.
नमस्ते।
अभी मुझे सुनाई दिया, I've got to understand कि आपको अब धमकी भी मिली है, डेथ थ्रेट भी मिला है।
सर मुझे और मेरे डायरेक्टर को गला काटने की, जलाने की, मेरे बच्चों को घर से उठा के लटका के वो कश्मीर में टांग देंगे, और वो कह रहे हैं कि कन्हैयालाल की तरह उदयपुर कांड हो जाएगा। कुछ लोग लिख रहे हैं कि अब अमित जानी मर्डर स्टोरी बनेगी और एक मेरठ फाइल बनेगी जहां अमित जानी रहता है। तो इस तरह की जो धमकियां हैं सर 10,000 ज्यादा हैं, और सबकी जो फोटो हैं, जो व्हाट्सएप से धमकी आ रही है और जो इंस्टाग्राम से आ रही है, किसी पे हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन लिखा है, किसी पे लश्कर तोयबा, किसी पे बगदादी का फोटो है, किसी पे सर गद्दाफी का फोटो है। वो तमाम लोग जो है धमकियां दे रहे हैं, लगातार कंटिन्यूअसली धमकियां दे रहे हैं। मतलब हर सरतन से जुदा के तो पूरे दिन में मुझे हजारों मैसेज आते हैं, और कितने भद्दे भद्दी वो भाषा उसमें लिखते हैं, हमारे बारे में नहीं, हमारे राम जी के बारे में, महादेव के बारे में, और क्या क्या वो नहीं लिखते मैं यहाँ बता नहीं सकता हूँ चैनल पे, क्योंकि वो शब्द भी मैं जबान पे नहीं ला सकता जो वो लोग लिख रहे हैं सर हमारे बारे में।
ये कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, कौन लोग हैं, और क्या आपने इसकी कंप्लेंट की है?
सर ये इंस्टाग्राम की आईडी है। कोई सीरिया से है सर, कोई इराक से है सर, कोई पाकिस्तान से है, कश्मीर से सर, बंगाल से, केरल, आसाम से सर, उत्तर प्रदेश से भी है सर। 2 लोग उत्तर प्रदेश से सर सहारनपुर पुलिस ने परसों गिरफ्तार किए हैं इस तरह की धमकी देने के मामले में। देवबंद से ही गिरफ्तार हुए हैं जहाँ के मदनी है, और सर 2 लोग जो है राजस्थान पुलिस ने उदयपुर में गिरफ्तार किए हैं जो इस तरह की धमकी दे रहे थे सर भाषण में, और पोस्ट में जो लोग भड़काऊ कमेंट कर रहे थे कि एक और कन्हैयालाल कांड हो जाएगा। और सर सिनेमा घरों को जलाने की, तोड़ने फोड़ने की धमकी है। महाराष्ट्र में मुसलमानों ने सिनेमा घरों के अंदर घुस के जो है कन्हैयालाल दर्जी की हत्या में बनने वाली उदयपुर फाइल के पोस्टर तोड़ दिए, और जब वो ऐसा कर रहे थे तो उन्हें कोई रोक भी नहीं रहा था। मतलब बिल्कुल एकदम उन्होंने ये दिखा रहे हैं कि एकदम हम हैं और हम ही रहेंगे, सरिया है, संविधान नहीं है।
पर जब आप ये पिक्चर बनाने निकले थे तब आपको अंदाजा था कि इतना रेजिस्टेंस होगा?
नहीं सर, मुझे तो लगा था कि हक की आवाज, एक इनका नारा है कि हक की आवाज पे लबैक कहो, तो मुझे लगा था जब हम ये कन्हैयालाल की हत्या का सच दिखाएंगे और जब इन हत्यारों की जो क्रूरता हम दिखाएंगे, तो जो कहते हैं कि इस्लाम में ये सब हराम है और हम हत्यारों का और जुल्म करने वालों के साथ नहीं थे, तो मुझे लगा करोड़ों लोग मेरे समर्थन में खड़े हो जाएंगे और कहेंगे आपने ठीक किया। ये मुझे तो बिल्कुल अंदाजा नहीं था कि इस तरह से करेंगे। हालांकि कश्मीर फाइल, केरला स्टोरी, साबरमती रिपोर्ट के बाद जो इन्होंने हंगामा किया था और जो उस पर इनकी प्रतिक्रिया थी, उससे देख के मैं बहुत ज्यादा सहमत नहीं था, लेकिन फिर भी मेरे अंदर की एक अंतरात्मा की आवाज कहती थी कि अरे मुसलमान भी देशभक्त है, सच्चा है। हमारे देश में एक हिंदू का कत्ल हुआ और अल्लाह अकबर, नारा तकबीर, अल्लाह अकबर कह के हुआ। गुस्ताखे नबी की एक सजा सरतनसिदा कह के उन्होंने मारा सर। नबी के नाम पे उन्होंने, जो नबी कूड़ा फेंकने वाली बुढ़िया को भी माफ कर देते थे, उसके नाम पे गैंग बना है सरतनसिदा का। और मुझे लगा इसकी मजम्मत होगी, इसकी मुखालफत करेंगे तमाम दीन के उलेमा इकराम, जितने भी हमारे मुफ्ती कारी हाफिज हैं, लेकिन ये सब तो चढ़ गए हमारी छाती पे उल्टा और ये कह रहे हैं कि तुमने इन हत्यारों क्यों दिखाया, कन्हैयालाल की चीखें क्यों दिखा रहे हो, तुम क्या करना चाहते हो, देश में दंगा हो जाएगा। मैं तो इनसे ये भी पूछ रहा हूं लगातार कि अगर कन्हैयालाल की चीखें फिल्म में देखने से दंगा हो जाएगा, तो दंगा तो कन्हैयालाल की हत्या पे ही हो जाना चाहिए था। जब कन्हैयालाल की हत्या हुई सर, तो एक वीडियो कन्हैयालाल के हत्यारों ने बनाई हत्या से पहले, एक बनाई हत्या करते समय, एक बनाई हत्या करने के बाद, जिस वीडियो में उन्होंने कहा कि हम इसी तरह से नुपुर शर्मा को भी मारेंगे, मोदी योगी को भी मारेंगे। तो जब उन 3 वीडियो की जो ड्यूरेशन है सर 20 मिनट से ज्यादा, उससे दंगा नहीं हुआ, तो 2 मिनट के ट्रेलर से इनके पेट में दर्द एकदम से कैसे हो गया, तो मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है ये किस तरह से। अब बताओ सर, मैं प्रोड्यूसर हूं, मैं अपना सर्टिफिकेट लेने किसी मुल्ला मौलवी के पास मदरसे में जाऊं कि सीबीएफसी बोर्ड के पास जाऊं सर?
जब आप सीबीएफसी बोर्ड के पास गए थे, उन्होंने क्या कहा? उन्होंने भी कुछ 55 कट करवाए आपसे?
हाँ जी,
सीबीएफसी ने भी आपसे करीब 55 कट्स करवाए।
अच्छा, सीबीएफसी ने कहा कि देखिए बात तो आपकी सच है, लेकिन सच भी आप जो है सिनेमा में उतना फ्रीडम से नहीं दिखा सकते। तो जो गाइडलाइन है भारत सरकार की, उस गाइडलाइन के हिसाब से जो है आप जो है ये काटिए। वो जो कहते रहे सर, हम मानते रहे, हम इसलिए मानते रहे सर क्योंकि हम संवैधानिक संस्थाओं में भरोसा रखते हैं सर। हम अफजल गुरु को जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट फांसी देती है, तो हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजों को कातिल नहीं बताते कि अफजल हम शर्मिंदा है, तेरे कातिल जिंदा है। याकूब मेमन के जनाजे में खड़े होके सुप्रीम कोर्ट को गाली नहीं देते सर। हमें तो जो कह दिया इंफॉर्मेशन ब्रॉडकास्टिंग मिनिस्ट्री ने, जो कह दिया सेंसर बोर्ड ने, हमने वो मान लिया। जब उन्होंने हमें सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया फिल्म का, ट्रेलर का, तब हम जाके फिल्म के रिलीज की घोषणा किए थे कि 11 जुलाई को फिल्म आ रही है। और सर लाखों लोगों ने सिनेमाघर में टिकट भी खरीद लिए थे और इन लोगों ने लास्ट में जाके, एकदम आखिरी मोमेंट में जाके सर, हत्यारा जो है जावेद, वो भी सर सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचा, उसने भी कहा कि माहौल खराब हो जाएगा। मतलब हत्यारा भी कह रहा है सर कि माहौल खराब हो जाएगा, जिसने जो हत्या में चार्जशीट में
कोर्ट ने जिसकी हत्या हुई उसकी नहीं सुनी, पर जो हत्यारा है उसकी सुनी, ऐसा आपको लगा?
जो हत्यारा चाहता था सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नहीं, हालांकि उसको एंटरटेन किया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में तो कह दिया था जस्टिस ने कि हम नहीं सुनेंगे, इसको फिल्म रिलीज होने दीजिए। और हमें तो अब तक यही लगता था सर कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट हायर अथॉरिटी है, हाई कोर्ट से बड़ी है। लेकिन अब हाई कोर्ट में जब ये मामला गया और एकदम से सिब्बल साहब प्रकट हो गए जिन की तरह, तो मुझे लगा ये एकदम कैसे आ गए, वो तो वकालतनामे में उनका जिक्र भी नहीं था। और फिर उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं मैं फिल्म देखूंगा, तो हमने और हमारे जो अधिवक्ता थे उन्होंने कहा कि फिल्म जो है अनलॉक होती है ईवीएम मशीन की तरह, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो खोली जा सकती है वो दर्शकों के लिए खोली जा सकती है। 10 मिनट पहले उसमें अनलॉक किया जाता है, डायरेक्ट का पासवर्ड होता है। लेकिन उन्होंने कहा नहीं मैं देखूंगा। हमने सर जस्टिस महोदय से कहा कि फिल्म आप देख लीजिए, उन्होंने नहीं देखी, कपिल सिब्बल ने देखी। और कपिल सिब्बल को तो सर फीस लिए हुए हैं या फ्री में जैसा भी है, वो तो मदनी साहब के वकील हैं। तो अगर हम कपिल सिब्बल को रामायण भी दिखाते तो रामायण में भी राम जी की गलती बता के निकल जाते। उन्होंने वही किया। उन्होंने सर पूरी फिल्म देखने के बाद हाईकोर्ट में जाके कहा कि पूरी की पूरी फिल्म हॉरेबल है, कन्हैयालाल की हत्या हुई।
पर कोर्ट में जज को फिल्म देखनी चाहिए या जो लॉयर जो प्रतिवादी की तरफ से खड़ा है उसको देख करके जजमेंट होना चाहिए? ये बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन रहता है अमित जी। आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू ब्रिंग इन, आप जरा बने रहिए। मयंक जैन एंड मनप्रीत हैव आल्सो बीन लिसनिंग, उनकी भी व्यथा कुछ आपके जैसे ही है। मनप्रीत, हिज स्टोरी ऑफ इतिहास, यू रिलीज दैट, यू आल्सो फेस रेजिस्टेंस। screens were blocked. You also had to get more than 50 cuts done.
Yeah. So I'm जब मैं इनकी व्यथा सुन रहा हूँ तो मुझे आप समझ सकते हैं कि एक फिल्म मेकर जो कोई सच कहना चाहता है उसको किस परेशानी के थ्रू जाना पड़ता है. जब मैं इनकी परेशानी सुन रहा था तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरी परेशानियां फिर भी थोड़ी कम थी. इनको जान से मारने की धमकियां आ रही हैं, ये सब हो रहा है. ये बेसिकली ये मैसेज दिया जाने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि जो सच को दिखाना चाहता है वो दिखाया ना जा सके. It's a system which is there. So you have to understand it's an ecosystem which plays out. If it starts with the actors, saying yes or no to the movies, then it goes to the CBFC giving cuts. Then after that, if you reach the theaters, then you not getting screens. और अभी तो इन सर की अभी तो screens पे गई भी नहीं है और इनको ये सब issues आ रहे हैं. तो मेरा बस I am really to be honest, this seems to be a very evil design of discouraging filmmakers not to basically make films which they believe in. And if CBFC is there, okay, it is basically giving it. ये भाई साहब तो रिव्यू कमेटी में नहीं गए. मैं अपनी मूवी हिस्टोरी ऑफ इतिहास को रिव्यू कमेटी में भी लेके गया था, लेकिन ये रिव्यू कमेटी में भी नहीं गए. उन्होंने 50-55 कट जो भी दिए मानने को तैयार भी हो गए. उसके बावजूद भी इनको ये इश्यूज आ रहे हैं. मुझे लगता है कि आई डोंट नो, आई एम एक्चुअली मैं आपके सामने अभी जो सुन रहा था इनको कि जो इनको बातें कही जा रही हैं, मतलब जो हत्यारा है उसका व्यू है, लेकिन जिसकी हत्या हुई है उसका कोई व्यू नहीं है. ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्य बात है. मतलब मुझे एक्चुअली बहुत अजीब लग रहा है. I came with a very clear mind. I'm like, okay, like I didn't expect like these things would have happened to the producer. And जानी जी को मैं मतलब I kind of I'm glad that he's trying to fight back. और मेरी पूरी उनसे मेरी प्रार्थना उनके साथ है कि he fights back, because ऐसी आवाजें जब भी उठें, जैसे भी उठें, हमें उठानी चाहिए, चाहे सामने कोई भी आए. हमें फाइट करते रहना चाहिए. और ये बात है कि जैसे अब पीके मूवी आई थी तो वहां पे जब कोर्ट के पास मामला था तो वहां कह दिया गया था, इफ यू डोंट लाइक डोंट वॉच. Okay, I'm just wondering why can't the same parameter be applied over here? Correct. If you don't like, don't.
See, that's the question. That's the question. Why is the yardstick shift depending upon which side is making the argument and which side the slant is, or etc. etc. How can that be? It cannot be a one-way virtue signaling even by the courts. They have to have an equanimous position across board. There are others who are standing up to speak, etc. etc. But this is something which the courts, and also if the CBFC has certified the movie for release, and you as filmmakers have complied to all the cuts, all the demands of the CBFC and the review committee, then that should be ready for release. If people want to watch it, you give them the choice. If they don't want to watch it, you let them not watch it. It's as simple as that. So if the courts can say that in one case, why can't they say that in the other? If they can say that, like you said, Manpreet, with PK, why not with Udaipur Files or History of Itihas or Crimson Crescent? Mayank Jain, your thoughts?
Yes, the equations are not same for the Muslims and Hindus. If I say that...
But the courts are not supposed to see it from a religious or a linguistic prism. They're supposed to see it from the prism of law.
Yeah, but we have allowed the equations to be unequal. For example, if I say that all gods are same, that is Islamophobic. Because Allah is the only God, according to them. And if you try to equate your God with Allah, then you are Islamophobic. But if they try to destroy my idols, they try to destroy my Jain temples and the Jain idol in that, then that is not Hindu-phobic. That is a very secular task. So it is the alliance which was formed between the communists and the Islamists. The Adhikari thesis, which resulted in the partition of India. It was basically a communist doctrine which was prepared in favor of Islamic separatism. So, and after we get independent, our first education minister was Maulana Azad. And the entire education process was tilted in favor of the Muslims, which were considered to be progressive, and the Hindus were considered to be second-class citizens, almost like slaves, who would have to do away with, because even Nehru was Hindu, he was an anti-Hindu in a big way. So it was very difficult for Hindus to survive in independent India. and that has continued to this day. So the equations are tilted against the Hindus, totally against the Hindus. You cannot even. But I'll give you a very, very important thing which is happening.
Right.
Very important thing which is happening. MBS, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, he has said that 90% of the hadiths have to be watered down. But there is no protest on the streets by the Muslims of India. It is MBS who is bringing in very big changes.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, but not one protest. But if I report that, for example, I went to a madrasa in a no-go area in Delhi, Sundar Nagari, where many Dalits have been murdered from time to time. And I went inside that madrasa, and after some time I lost track of what was happening there on my backside, because
Right.
I was facing the madrasa, and then there was some din. The din was little high after some time, and I thought that there was a bigger crowd, and there was a huge crowd at my back, And they started saying, "क्या पूछ रहे हो आप सवाल? क्यों पूछ रहे हो ये सवाल?" तो मैंने कहा कि मैंने तो ये पूछा कि काफिर क्या होता है, बच्चों से पूछ रहा हूँ, यहाँ पर पढ़ाया जाता है इनको, तो उनसे मैं डेफिनेशन पूछ रहा हूँ। बोले क्या मकसद है आपका पूछने का, आप आए कैसे यहाँ पे? और वहां हल्ला मच गया, और मैंने देखा था कि जो 2-3 लोग मेरे साथ आए थे वो इधर उधर हो गए थे, तो मैं अकेला था वहां पे। लेकिन मैंने उनसे कहा कि आप बताइए क्या पूछना है सवाल, अगर सवाल एक जर्नलिस्ट नहीं पूछ सकता है तो आप बता दीजिए क्या पूछ लेते हैं आप जो बताना चाहते हैं। तो इस तरह का प्रेशर था, बड़ी मुश्किल से मैं वहां से बचा। विद ग्रेट डिफिकल्टी आई केम आउट ऑफ दैट प्लेस।
राइट।
सो एंड इन मेवात, inside a madrasa, when I'm talking about my upcoming film,
right.
in the last quarter. So while shooting that, I faced a little bit of problem, but not much, because many of them are friendly.
See, my thing is, if it is okayed by the CBFC, why should the courts have a problem? Why can't the court say, अमित जानी, अब आप क्या करेंगे? अब आपकी रिलीज अटकी हुई है, अब कोर्ट से आपसे क्या आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन है, अगली सुनवाई कब है, और ये जो आपको थ्रेट्स मिल रहे हैं, क्या इसकी वजह से आप पिक्चर रिलीज नहीं करेंगे?
नहीं सर, पिक्चर तो रिलीज थ्रेट का तो कोई कारण नहीं है। थ्रेट तो देखो देंगे ये लोग, इनका काम है धमकी देना। धमकी तो कन्हैयालाल को भी दी थी, लेकिन कन्हैयालाल उदयपुर की मिट्टी को, मेवाड़ को छोड़ के भागा तो नहीं था सर। पलायन का पोस्टर चिपका के भागा तो नहीं था अपने बच्चों को लेके, तो भागेंगे तो हम भी नहीं सर। लेकिन सर अब तो हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा सकते हैं हाई कोर्ट के फैसले के खिलाफ। और जो कपिल सिब्बल को कहा है कि आप सोमवार तक अपील करिए, सेंट्रल कमेटी इंफॉर्मेशन ब्रॉडकास्टिंग मिनिस्ट्री अश्विनी वैष्णव इसको देखेंगे।
राइट।
तो हम तो मोदी जी से अपील करेंगे कि भाई आप इस मामले को देखो, और अगर ये फिल्म आपको लगता है ठीक है और कन्हैयालाल जी का दर्द दिखाया जाना चाहिए, तो आप इसको जो है, आपको 7 दिन का समय दिया है हाई कोर्ट ने, आप 7 दिन में इसको फिर से भेज दो। तो अगर वो करेक्ट करके भी भेजेंगे, या कुछ अगर काटना छाटना है तो उसके लिए भी तैयार है।
पर एक बात बताइए अमित जानी जी, अगर प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और आईएनबी मिनिस्टर अश्विनी वैष्णव को ही सारी पिक्चरें देखनी है, तो सीबीएफसी क्या कर रही है? और कोर्ट का नजरिया एक पिक्चर को लेकर कुछ और दूसरी पिक्चर को लेकर कुछ कैसे हो सकता है?
ये तो चाहिए।
तो क्या ये आपने कोर्ट में आर्ग्यू नहीं किया?
ये सर आर्गुमेंट किया था, लेकिन वो सुना नहीं। उन्होंने कपिल सिब्बल के अलावा किसी को सुना ही नहीं। वो तो लग रहा था जैसे कपिल सिब्बल जो कह रहे हैं उसी को सुनना चाहते हैं, वही लिखना चाहते हैं। ऑर्डर भी ऐसा लग रहा था कपिल सिब्बल ही लिख रहे हैं। सर बिल्कुल सुना ही नहीं उन्होंने, किसी को भी नहीं सुना है। वो हर बात को, जब भी कोई बोलता था तो उसको डांट देते थे, और वो सिर्फ उसकी बात सुनते थे कपिल सिब्बल की।
नो बट तो फिर आपके लीगल टीम ने क्या किया? क्या आप अब कोई नामी लॉयर की तरफ गुहार लगाएंगे? क्योंकि लॉयर का नाम बड़ा होगा तो क्या कोर्ट झुक जाएगा? आप ऐसे कैसे कह सकते हैं? हमारे कोर्ट्स ऐसे नहीं हैं, हमारे जस्टिस जजेस ऐसे नहीं।
लेकिन जो अंदर की सिचुएशन है, वो मैं तो कोर्ट के लिए कुछ नहीं कह रहा हूँ सर।
पर आप कह रहे हैं कि अंदर ऐसा हुआ?
हाँ, अंदर की मैं तो आपको सिचुएशन बता रहा हूँ कि वहां पे जब हम लोगों ने कहा कि सर आप देखिए मूवी, आप कौन डिसाइड करेगा? कपिल सिब्बल डिसाइड करेंगे, कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगी मूवी सही है?
जस्टिस को, जज को देखना होगा ना, कोर्ट को देखना चाहिए पिक्चर।
तो उन्होंने देखा ही नहीं सर, उन्होंने देखा ही नहीं। और वो जब हाई कोर्ट ने उनको कहा कि आप सेंट्रल कमेटी के पास जाइए, इंफॉर्मेशन ब्रॉडकास्टिंग मिनिस्ट्री के पास जाइए, तो उस समय तक वो कहते ठीक है आप जाइए, हमारे रिलीफ मिलेगा, ठीक है हम स्टे नहीं कर सकते। जब उन्होंने देखा ही नहीं सर, तो उन्होंने स्टे किस बात के लिए कर दिया सर? इसलिए तो हम असहमत हैं। हम कह रहे हैं हाईकोर्ट के फैसले से असहमत हैं। हमें फैसला जो है बिल्कुल जो है न्याय व्यवस्था के प्रतिकूल लग रहा है, तो तभी तो उसको चुनौती देने के लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाने की बात करें सर। तो उन्हें कहना चाहिए था कि मैंने फिल्म देखी नहीं है, आपने देखी है, आपको तकलीफ है, आपको सीबीएफसी के सर्टिफिकेट पर भरोसा नहीं है, तो आप सेंट्रल कमेटी में जाइए। जब तक सेंट्रल कमेटी डिसीजन नहीं देती, जब तक फिल्म का स्टे करने का सर को औचित्य नहीं था।
Right. So you must see. I know there are challenges, but you must not give up. That's what Manpreet is saying. Manpreet has not given up. His screens were blocked. That's what he is saying, that he was not given screens to showcase his movie. There are others who have not been allowed to shoot movies. You are saying that the courts have taken varied positions between your movie Amit Jani, Udaipur Files, and the other movies in the past that have been released or that have been allowed to continue to play on. If the power of watching a movie or whether or not deciding to support a movie lies with the viewer, and if it has got the okay from the CBFC, why should the courts take varying positions? And why should some prominent, eminent lawyers bulldoze their position or misuse their position in front of the courts? These are questions that remain. We'll follow this story. Thank you very much to all our guests. Thank you very much. Have to wind up this edition of The Right Stand on that note. Thank you. Namaste.
Co-presented by... This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The Delhi High Court has now stayed the release of Udaipur Files, a movie based on Kanhaiya Lal murder case from 2022. It was scheduled to release today itself till the centre decides on pleas seeking a permanent ban on it. The court stayed the film's release until the central government decides on the revision plea filed by the Jamaat Ulama in Hind, challenging the CBFC's nod. A division bench of Chief Justice D.K. Upadhyay and Justice Anish Dayal directed the petitioners to approach the government within 2 days with their grievances. The petitioners accused in the Kanhaiya Lal murder case moved court contending that the film's release will jeopardize their chances of a fair trial. The bench said, and I quote the court here, admittedly petitioners have not taken recourse to available remedy with the central government, unquote. So this is the High Court asking the petitioners to approach the central government, asking the centre to take a call on the same. The movie, though, remember, is slated to release today itself, and the Delhi High Court has now stayed the release of this film.
3 साल से किसी केस में अपराधियों को सज़ा नहीं मिली, वीडियो सबूत वगैरह सब कुछ होने के बावजूद, और जब एक हकीकत एक मूवी के ज़रिए देश को दिखाना चाहता है कोई, ठीक है, कि उस समय क्या हुआ था 28 जून 2022 को, तो उसके लिए पूरा एक संगठन खड़ा हो जाता है, जमीयत उलमा हिंद, ये मौलाना मदनी जी आ जाते हैं कि नहीं मूवी पर रोक लगनी चाहिए, मूवी पर रोक लगनी चाहिए, और सिर्फ 3 दिन के अंदर हमें पता चल रहा है कि मूवी पर रोक भी लग गई। मतलब कितना हमारा जो कानून है वो कितना तेज़ है ना, एकदम फास्ट, ठीक है, पर वही जब किसी केस में अपराधियों को सज़ा देनी होती है तो वो नहीं हो रही।
जो वकील थे कपिल सिब्बल, उनको स्कैनिंग करा दी थी, तो स्कैनिंग कराने के बाद भी उन्हें बोलना तो वही था जो उनके मन में है, क्योंकि उन्होंने फीस ली उस बात की, विरोध करने की, तो विरोध ही वो करेंगे। तो आज बहुत समय तक जो है हाई कोर्ट में चीफ जस्टिस साहब के सामने वो पूरा प्रकरण चला, और उन्होंने फिर लास्ट में ये कहा कि ये फिल्म अभी स्टे कर दी जाती है फ़िलहाल, और हम तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा ही सकते हैं, हमारा तो राइट है इस फैसले को चैलेंज करने के लिए। जा ही रहे हम सुबह सुप्रीम कोर्ट, और उनको कहा है कि आप जो है केंद्र सरकार को इस फिल्म को दिखाइए, उनको अपील करिए, और 7 दिन के अंदर अंदर केंद्र सरकार फैसला दे कि ये फिल्म ठीक है कि गलत है। यानी गैंग जो है केंद्र सरकार, मोदी सरकार के पाले में चली गई है कि 3 साल हो गए कन्हैया लाल जी की हत्या को। ऑन कैमरा हत्या हुई थी, लाइव मर्डर था, हत्या करने वालों ने खुद कबूला था, मारते वीडियो बनाई थी, आज तक तारीख भी नहीं लग रही उसमें। उनके ऊपर जो फिल्म बन रही थी उनका दर्द दिखाने के लिए, उस पर 3 दिन में ही जो है फैसला कर दिया।
The release of the movie has been stayed. We will read up the entire order and then we will be in a position to comment any further. हमारे आर्ग्यूमेंट्स ये थे कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि ये पिक्चर किसी प्रकार से किसी कम्युनिटी को गलत लाइट में दर्शाने की कोशिश कर रही है। ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। इनफैक्ट यह पिक्चर प्रॉपर एक इंडिया पाकिस्तान डिस्प्यूट पे है। इसमें हम दिखाना चाहते थे कि किसी भी कम्युनिटी नहीं, ये क्राइम के ऊपर आधारित पिक्चर है। हम तो सिर्फ ये दिखाना चाहते हैं कि मूवी हिंदू मुस्लिम एकता पे ही है। इसमें कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं है जिससे किसी भी पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी की किसी भी भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंचे। कल पेटिशनर के काउंसिल ने पूरी पिक्चर देखी है। ऐसा भी पहली बार हुआ था कि पिक्चर की स्टे के लिए रिलीज से पहले पेटिशनर के काउंसिल को पिक्चर दिखाई जाए। ऐसा भी कभी हुआ नहीं था। पिक्चर उन्हें दिखाई गई, पिक्चर दिखाई गई। पिक्चर में हमारी तरफ से तो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। अगर पिक्चर में कुछ भी होता तो सेंसर बोर्ड पिक्चर पास ही नहीं करता। सेंसर बोर्ड ने 60 के ऊपर कट्स लगाए थे, उसके बाद इस मूवी को सेंसर सर्टिफिकेट मिला था।
Going across to Ananya Bhatnagar, who joins us with more. Ananya, earlier the Supreme Court turned down a request for an urgent hearing on the...
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. This is one of the most shocking and cold-hearted stories that you will come across. A father of a state-level tennis champion, a 25-year-old young girl named Radhika Yadav, was shot dead by her father with 3 bullets from his licensed revolver. This was at point-blank range. It was inside their house. Her mother was on a floor above. Now the police are saying that the father felt taunted by his friends and his relatives, that he was not earning anything for the family and the only earning member of the family was his daughter, and that he was living off his daughter's earnings. But is that even a plausible explanation? Does it even come close to a rational explanation for why someone would shoot their own girl dead? What sort of sick, deranged individual would kill his own daughter